Welcome to Property Mama Adventures in Real Estate, episode 38. It is here each week. I join you to share the latest goings on and shenanigans in the world of real estate. I've been buying and selling real estate for almost 3 decades, and I have seen a few things in my time. If we're not met before, my name is Wendy Chamberlain, and I am a buyer's advocate, a buyer's agent here in Melbourne, Australia. So if you've heard me talk before, you'll know I'll talk about real estate as being generational. And what I mean by that is that you got to play the long game. With real estate, it's about creating relationships. And I see it time and time again, because you may work with someone who is buying and selling, and then they'll have their parents that need help in that process with real estate. They might have siblings. And then we have parents that as they get older, they have their children come and contact us. So it really is a business where you need to understand people and be able to build that rapport and relationships with people. So an example is that sometimes you can talk to someone and it can be a number of years before they're ready to make that move when it comes to buying and selling real estate. And we recently had someone contact us, it was the other week, and I had spoken to this person about 13 months prior about them being interested in getting their home sold and then purchasing another property. So 13 months, so over a year later. And people get in touch and say, I'm not sure if you remember me. I do. I remember. I have a very good memory for talking to people. I've actually got a really good memory for floor plans, interestingly, and I'm very good at rearranging floor plans and helping people to do that kind of thing. That's just a little aside. But it can take that long for people to be ready, because when you think about it, buying and selling real estate is a very big process. It's quite a large decision that has to be made for somebody, and it can be a life-changing decision. And I like to think of the fact that we help people and we help them change their lives. And what I mean by that is someone might be taking that first step onto the property ladder and buying their first home, which is so exciting for people. Or they could be at the other end of the process where they're downsizing and they need to buy something a bit smaller and sell the family home, which is so emotional for people because it's the home where they have lived for many, many years. Or they might be going into care, or it might be the family having to deal with the estate of the property. So we work with people at all through various processes in the real estate realm, wherever they might be up to. So it's not unusual for us to be contacted by someone. I was contacted the other day as well by someone that I spoke to in 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and then I spoke to them again about 12 months ago, and they got in touch again. And it's because you just have to be patient. You just have to have those conversations with people, and when they're ready, they will step forward, and that's what we do. I love working with our clients. And today I wanted to share the journey of a selling client. And I've had a conversation with her today. We're having a bit of a giggle because then I'll get to what was really funny in the process, because we've just actually sold her property. And she was telling a really, really funny story. But let's start at the beginning of how this process all came about, because it has taken us a number of years working side by side with this beautiful client to get to the point of being able to support her to sell the property. So around about a couple of years, I think it was, she reached out via a connection in the industry that had recommended us and our services to her. Now, very, very tragically, she had lost her partner. She has a daughter, a young daughter with his partner, and he has passed away. And so she approached us just to try and help her navigate this quagmire that can be getting your properties sold. Now, there was 2 properties that we were asked to step in and be involved with to sell for our client. So one of the properties was in a coastal area, regional area of Victoria, and I've spoken about that sale on another episode of Property Mama. But in a nutshell, because it was in the country and they do things a little bit differently in the country, it was an interesting process there. But we managed to get that property ready for sale. So our client was renting at the time, and so these two properties were rented out. One was vacant, one was rented, and we worked on getting the first property ready for sale, which was the one in the regional area, and there was another one in a suburb of Melbourne. So we appointed a real estate agent for the coastal sale. We ran the campaign and we managed to achieve a good result for our client there. So that property was sold, and that gave some peace of mind in relation to that sale. Now, the other property we actually was getting things ready to get it on the market, and our client just made the decision that she would stop renting where she was and she would move into this property, because it was just at that point in time, it was the easiest thing for her to do with her daughter. It didn't involve a lot of having to think about things or what was going on. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of emotion around things at that point in time. So we put that sale on hold and our client moved into that property in that suburb, which wasn't one of her ideal areas that she necessarily wanted to live, but it just worked at the time. So she stopped renting where she was. Also, there's obviously a cost factor involved there, and started living in this property that we'd put on hold. I was contacted again recently, earlier this year, saying that she was now ready to put the property on the market because she wanted to make a change. She wanted to move to another area. And she'd been living in this property. As I said, it wasn't necessarily in her ideal location, but things just were lining up better from what was going on at that point in time. But she was ready now to move on because she wanted to buy somewhere. She wanted to buy somewhere where she could raise her daughter surrounded by a community that was supportive for her, and that was not where she felt she was getting that where the property was located right now. All good. So we just contacted the real estate agent that we had originally been working with. We'd appointed to sell the property, because at that point in time we had to say, look, just things are on hold for the moment. Great agent, it's just the circumstances at the time. So we recontacted that real estate agent. We'd had photos done and everything. So what it meant was we were able to save a bit of money there for our client, because she'd already had the photos done, the photos and floor plans. We could use those from last time. So because getting a property on the market and on the public market, there's a cost involved for that. There's marketing that you have to pay for. So we were able to save a little bit of money there because we'd already had those things done. Unfortunately, you don't save any money if you've already gone online on the internet, because if there's a long time frame through which things are put on hold, you have to pay again. So we started that process of getting the property ready. Because she was living there with her daughter, she had some decluttering to do. She wanted to get the house fixed up, get it cleaned up, and that's normal when you are selling a property. We've got another property at the moment that we are selling for one of our clients, and it was a typical home that's been lived in, and you've just got stuff in it. So have a think, look around your own home and look at all the things that you have, just basically life that you have in your house that you live. Think of then how you would need to remove so much of that to basically create that picture and that clean slate for the buyers to come through, because the buyers don't want to see clutter. They want to see a space that they can imagine themselves stepping into, and that's what we need to create when we are looking to get a great result when it comes to selling a property. And so these other clients have just done this massive declutter, and they've done an amazing job presenting their home, and just help them put some staging furniture in just this week, and we're going to have photos next week for that property. So that's another great result that's going to come through for those clients. So if we go back to my client with her daughter, and she's been living in this property, there is so much stress that people can feel when it comes to trying to get organised to get a property on the market to sell it. Because think about it, that's not the only thing you're doing at that point in your life. You're also living your life. You're also have some kind of income. You might have a business, or you might be employed by somebody. So you still have to work. You've still got to do that. And you've got to look after any children that you've got, and try and get your home ready and organise trades, which we were able to support and provide those resources. But then you've got to be home to have those people come through and organise that. And there was bits and pieces that she wanted to get ready and get changed and get updated and fixed and so forth to present the home in the very best possible light. Now, at the same time, as you can imagine, there's other stress factors involved because she has recently lost her partner and it all became just too much. The wheels started to get a little bit wobbly and I could see and feel that the wheels are starting to get a little bit wobbly and saying, look, we're here to support you. We can step in if you need me to be there for meeting the trades or getting things done. We can do that for you. And it got to the point where she said, look, I just need to put things on hold. I just need to put things on hold while I sort a few things out. She had to sort some things out with her daughter. And all of this kind of stuff is absolutely normal for people that are going through the process of trying to get a home on the market and sold, because there are just so many moving parts. And you'll hear me, just as a little aside, you'll hear me talk about off-market sales, so homes that are not advertised for sale, secret listings, pocket listings, pre-market listings, off-market listings, all kind of the same thing, is where the property is not publicly shared on the open market. So it's not going to appear on your real estate portals, wherever you go and search online with everybody else and you're looking, your real estate, your domain, your Zillow, whatever it is, where you're looking, these properties never hit that because they actually don't get published. And one of the reasons is because of the stress that is involved for many people for what they feel of getting their house to the level, the presentation level that they feel comfortable with. It's obviously like a moving target for different people because it depends on what you want to do with your home and how you want to present it, how much things you want in there. But it causes an extraordinary amount of stress. And it's one of the reasons why people will sell off market, because they're not necessarily having to have the home presented and have that process that we go through and have it open. So here we have, usually for properties going to auctions, we'll have 3 weeks of opens and then we'll have an auction on the 4th weekend. So that involves 4 weeks of having your home basically pristine, presented in showroom condition for people to come through. And we will generally have 2 opens a week. You'll have the Saturday open and then it's generally a midweek open as well. Plus, add to the mix private inspections, because a lot of folks these days work shift work. They can't make the published times when a property is open for inspection. So they'll ask and request for a private inspection, which we do like to accommodate where we can. And so you're looking at minimum 2, usually 3 time slots where your home needs to be presented for a potential buyer to come through. Where something is advertised off market, or say advertised, it's available off market, it's advertised to us as a buyer's agent. We get told about them. I get told about them all the time. We just bought one the other week off market actually, and I've sent another off market through to a client today for them to have a look at, for them to consider. And there's another one actually for another client which is pre-market. So we have access. So if you need that access to properties, just get in touch. And so it does sometimes remove that level of stress for someone looking to get their property on the market, where they don't have to have it open to the masses. And that's just one of the reasons. So the property got put on hold for a few weeks while things got sorted out in the background. And then I get a call to say, yep, let's go ahead. I'm ready to put the property on the market. So fantastic. And so we just pick things up again. So this is not unusual, and we are there to support you through this. Like it's like a roller coaster sometimes of emotion for people, because you are selling memories sometimes in the home. So it makes perfect sense. So we got the property online, the photos done, some bits and pieces got fixed up. Usually things around the garden, just tidy up is one thing that a lot of people have with homes that have gardens. And so we got everything sorted and got it online. Fantastic. And it was a private sale, this one, because of the type of property and the location. It didn't really lend itself to having an auction. And sometimes a private sale can be a shorter campaign. You don't have to run the whole 4 weeks. You can have it open. If someone steps forward and wants to make an offer and it's acceptable to everybody involved, well, then we can do that. And so we had a few buyers through, and one of the people that came through put forward, I will ask the real estate agent, can I put forward an offer, which they did, and it was actually a really good, strong offer, which was brilliant because it meant for our client that they could fairly quickly get a result, and then they know what their next step is for what they want to do in relation to buying their next property. Because that's one of the questions that sellers often have. Well, you're selling somewhere, generally you've got to buy somewhere else or have somewhere else to go. So if you're a seller and you're looking to buy somewhere, oftentimes what you can sell your property for determines your budget for buying your next step. And then you've got to also manage and navigate lining up settlement dates, because here in Victoria, you have a settlement date, which is the day when your ownership of the property ceases and the new owner takes over. So then also add in the fact that where you're purchasing a property, you're selling a property, and you're buying a property, you've got to line those two things up. So in the case of our client, she needed to have her sale of a property and the purchase of the next one all be happening on the same day, because she doesn't have anywhere else to go in the meantime. And this happens quite a lot. And it's one of the questions that I get asked often by clients is, should we sell first or should we buy first? And it is a very personal decision, and the circumstances are very much what is going to best suit you. Because if you don't have anywhere else to go, well, then it may suit you better to buy first and then sell. But then other people like to sell first and then buy for that equation of how much money they're going to have to spend. So if you've got somewhere to go, if you can stay with friends or family or can afford to go into short stay accommodation, then you might have more leeway and options in relation to whether you want to sell first or buy first. Because what happens if you sell and nothing comes up that you like to buy? You're going to be a little bit stuck and snookered there because you haven't got anywhere to go to, because you haven't found anything that you want. Whereas some people like to buy first. They know what they're going to be getting. They've found the perfect home that they want, and then they can proceed to sell their home. But again, like I said, it's very, very personal. So we've got a great offer on this property, and the settlement is coming up in a couple of weeks. And then the purchase of the property that our client's moving into is actually also going to be on the same day. So it's a little bit of maneuvering around making sure all of those ducks line up in a row, because she doesn't have anywhere else to go. So she has to have her settlement for her sale happen first, and then because that releases the cash, and then that cash gets moved across to the purchase, which is going to be within a number of hours. It's all done electronically now here in Victoria. And so the sale will release the cash, which then goes on to the purchase. So for her, just adding another level of stress and anxiety, she has to have her home that she's living in, because she's got nowhere else to go until she buys this new home, which she needs to sell her home and have those funds move across to buy the new home on the day of her settlement. So she needs to be ready to move out and have everything packed on the day of her settlement, which is a Monday. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. And so she's having to organise the moving truck to be there first thing on Monday morning to pack everything up, because she's moving out of that house on the same day, for then the truck to move and drive to the new place, and then have everything ready to be there for when the settlement goes through to unpack on the same day. Now, talk about increasing your stress levels, because we can have delays with the settlements, which is why we don't like to do a settlement on a Friday, because you're there with your moving truck and everything goes sideways and you don't get the settlement on the day. You've got to wait till Monday. What are you going to do? You've actually haven't got a house to live in. So we like to do them on the other days of the week, because things can generally get sorted out. And fingers crossed it all lines up. It usually does, but we have had scenarios where it hasn't, and I have shared on a few episodes about where things have gone sideways there. So my client is getting ready for the settlement, and I'm laughing because she let me know that she had spoken to the solicitors, all sorted out, given them what they need, and she goes, because there's going to be a final inspection. So you're entitled, when you purchase a property, to have a final inspection, which is your walk through the property, make sure everything's as it was. And I've spoken about this many times on previous episodes. And she said, and she started laughing. She goes, I need to get someone to fix the carpet. I go, what do you mean you got to get someone to fix the carpet? She goes, well, you know how, so I might have done a little burnt a little hole in the carpet. So what happened was when we were first looking to sell the property and got put on hold, and she wasn't moving into it at that point in time, it got rented out. And in order for it to be ready for the sale for the first time, the carpet that was put into the property wasn't your highest quality, most expensive carpet. It was like I don't know, an acrylic, like a plasticky type one. Whatever's not wool, that's the carpet that got put in. And so I'm talking to my client, and she goes, yeah, well, you know how you sage your house? Well, I had some frankincense resin, and I put that on charcoal, and the container that I normally put it in, I've packed that away because she's getting ready and everything's packed into boxes. So instead of putting it into the actual container it's supposed to go to sage her house, she put it onto a glass dish, and then she put the dark glass dish on the carpet, and she sent me a photo. It's burnt this little hole in the carpet. So she's got this hole in the carpet in the hallway when she was packing up. And so she goes, oh, so I put a shout out onto the local Facebook group to see what can people suggest about what I can do about this hole in the carpet in the hallway, which is pretty obvious. And someone suggested getting little googly eyes and putting it on the carpet and painting it black underneath, so it looks like someone's looking up from below the house, and they got these little Google eyes in the hallway. And she said, well, if I was staying, I might look to do that, but that's probably not going to be what she needs to do. And people were making all these suggestions. And I said, I don't suppose you can put a pot in the hallway, because if you're getting ready and everything's packed up and you've got this random pot in the middle of the hallway, it's probably going to be pretty obvious. People are going, oh, what's under here? And then it's going to be this hole in the carpet, which probably wouldn't have been a hole in the carpet if it was wool, but it's not. It's acrylic or plastic or whatever the carpet is. So we were having a huge laugh about this, what we're going to do, or what she's going to do about fixing this hole in the carpet. And she's just sent me the quote for someone. She's cut out a square, and she's going to have to get someone to come and repair this little square and pop it into the carpet so that it's repaired and it looks good, everything. Because I said, can you really notice it? She goes, well, it's black, and this is on beige carpet, so yeah, you can really notice it. But this is the kind of thing that goes on, just getting home. Because I said, okay, well, the settlement's in a couple of weeks. You've probably got 1 week for you to get it repaired, because the following week is the week before the settlement, and that's when the buyer is going to want to come back and have a look at their property to make sure everything was as per inspected. Well, having a little hole in the carpet is not what was there when the property was going to be purchased, so it needs to be repaired. So she's going through the process of repairing it. This is the rigmarole that's gone on for our client over these, with everything else that's gone on. Now we're just having a giggle about making sure that the carpet is repaired for the purchaser. But all good. We're on track to get the property settled and sold, and then she'll be able to move to have her changed to the country, well, the regional area, and move in there and start living life. So get started in property.com.au. That's my mentoring program. So let's talk about that. I have a program. As I said, I've been buying and selling real estate for nearly 3 decades, and I have basically taken everything in my brain and put it into this online program. So if you're wondering what are all the steps that you need to take when it comes to buying a property, we've got you covered. I have lined up all the ducks for you. We've got scripts, we've got videos, we've got documents that you can read. So if you feel nervous about what you need to do when you need to speak to a real estate agent to inquire on a property that you might be interested in, we have put together those scripts for you. And so the idea with the program is you follow the bouncing ball, you work at your own pace, and by the end of the program, you'll have the confidence to know the questions to ask. You'll be an area expert. You'll know exactly who needs to be on your team when it comes to purchasing your property. So head to getstartedinproperty.com.au and you'll find out all the details there. And we look forward to welcoming welcoming you into the program. So once again, thank you for joining me today for this episode of Property Mama Adventures in Real Estate. I do love having you here, enjoying the shenanigans that happen when it comes to both buying and selling. If you are enjoying it, please do share with your friends, family, colleagues. Give us a thumbs up and like the podcast on whatever platform you might be listening in, and look forward to joining you on the next episode. Thanks again, and bye-bye for now.